Hey everybody, Norm over here. It is Wacky Wacky Wednesday. I got my buddy Jonathan Stout. We've really kind of tapped in on Jonathan. I'm so pleased that he's come in, and people keep saying, get him in here, get him playing some more, and that's what we're doing. And I'm so pleased and so honored that you come in. And
I mean, the reality is you posted this one guitar on Instagram, and I was like, excuse me, I can drop by if you need me.
Well, this is his. These are his drugs.
Yes, yes. This is pretty brutal. So dig the alligator case first. Like, this isn't just like a regular 30s black leather case. We got the alligator. We open it up.
Wow.
One of the Angels, a
38.
38.
Yeah.
D'Angelico Excel. These were his L5s. Kind of shape and style, 17-inch body. I think he always went a little bit bigger, maybe just like a quarter of an inch or so. Yeah. But not only does this sound amazing, but it's like a pinnacle of beautiful Art Deco design, from the headstock all the way down to the inlays, down to the pick guard, the tailpiece. The F-holes are still a little bit cat's eye-y. They're not quite cat's eyes, but they're like they're a little thinner
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like crazy multi-ply binding, and the binding on this is in
great shape.
The back, of course, gorgeous. And this is old growth wood that they had back in the 30s that you just can't get wood that's that old now. And of course a multi-ply neck, so that's probably walnut and maple in the middle there, and walnut again, so maple on the sides. This is just an extraordinary piece of work. And then the Waverly tuners are just engraved. Like, there's no stone left unturned on this guitar to make it really beautiful.
This is guitar art.
Yeah.
Functional art.
Functional art, and it sounds amazing. These are some of the warmest, most sweetest sounding arch tops that they ever made.
Wow.
And I find that, like, you can have really great 40s and 50s ones, but by the time people started thinking about putting a pickup on it, they start changing it to make it a good electric guitar.
Right.
This was still entirely made to
for
be...
an acoustic.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just a killing example.
You say it's a great sounding guitar. Come on, let's
do it.
Show us what it does.
Let's go.
Hey everybody, Norm over here, and part of our edumacation series, we've got Jonathan Stout in here. And we've been having him play some arch tops that I pulled out of my warehouse that I've had stashed for a long time. None of them are in good condition.
This is like the holy grail. This is like, again, I said it on another thing. It's like the equivalent for a rock player of like him just pulling out burst after burst after burst in immaculate shape, and they sound good.
Well, they'll never make these ever again. And this is a John D'Angelico, an original one from the 30s, an XL. And he originally came out with a Style A and a Style B, and then the XL was sort of the L5 equivalent, and the Master 4, or the 400, excuse me, the New Yorker.
Yeah, the New Yorker
was the Super 4 equivalent. Stromberg had the Master 400. And Stromberg and D'Angelico were the two leading boutique builders that built for all the top jazz players, Oscar Moore, and who else? That played Irving Ashby. All those guys that played with Nat King Cole. They would have these guitars custom built to their specs. There's a book out called something with the Angels. Acquired of the Angels. And it lists who a lot of these guitars were made for. There's a lot of good records on the D'Angelicos.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing. Like, if it was the 30s and 40s, if you played acoustic arch top guitar in a big band, you either played a Gibson or an Epiphone, unless you happen to live in New York City, in which case you might go to John D's shop, or if you were in Boston, you might go see Stromberg and Son, and if buying off the rack didn't suit you, and so many great players chose to get a D'Angelico or a Stromberg, and I mean, I think Strombergs have had their place for just being these insane rhythm guitars, but John D'Angelico really, it's like Ferrari or something. It's just a name.
One's Ferrari, one's like Lamborghini. They're both really cool. It just depends what you're going for, and these guys built them custom to your liking, the shape of the neck, the woods, all that kind of stuff. So
These are just amazingly warm, full, beautiful guitars, and the sweetness on like a great D'Angelico is just, it's uncomparable. It's just really special.
This one thing that's cool, a lot of the D'Angelicos have binding problems where the binding is coming off. This one, what I liked is the binding was very intact.
Yeah.
It's just really a beautiful example. And I've had it stashed for a number of years, but now it's time to come out. And everything was kind of that Art Deco stuff, you know, his headstock design and the inlays and the tailpieces and pick guards. So
I don't want to speak ill, but I feel like this is like the best example of I don't want to, of other guitars. I mean, I don't want to speak, but like this is my favorite combination of specifications, at least for the cosmetic stuff. Like it's got an interesting pick guard with this beautiful Art Deco detailing. It's got the sort of cat's eye F holes that are a little bit, you know, hexagonal or trapezoidal rather, and they're bound and beautiful, and they've got this tailpiece instead of the kind of more fancy one they had a little bit later on, but it's got the beautiful engraving on it. You know, these inlays have inlays in them basically, and then the headstock is, you know, famously gorgeous. So, you know, it's sort of like transitional, like it's almost to the later style, but it's got this beautiful thing that makes it special and unique to this model.
well, Jonathan, do it some justice. Let's hear what this thing does.
Let's see. Bit of My Blue Heaven.
Very, very
Wow.
These, you know, I have the sweetness. You got to almost hear something pretty too. Like, you know, they can bop and all, but like, you know, there's just something so gorgeous about these.
Warm.
You know, like something like.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Wow.
So what's really cool is that, you know, these voicings that you play, there's a lot of altered chords and things like that, substitutes. And that's where jazz really kind of began, was the voicings and all that.
Yeah, and the stuff that I like is like the 30s and 40s stuff where it's hip. It's not too hip. And I feel like a lot of times, like when I started trying to learn jazz, I was trying to learn more modern stuff, and I could just never kind of cross over into getting how hip it was, and I just didn't know how to use these crazy altered things and all this stuff, and it just felt like a lot. And I feel like having studied this style, it really gave me an appreciation for like when to use the salt and pepper, because you know, just a little bit goes a long way. And obviously, like, you know, some kinds of food are spicier than others,
Yeah.
and you know, some kind of foods have different flavors, but like it really helps to like have a grounding to then go experiment. So every once in a while I'll find myself on a gig that's a little, I'm not hip enough for the gig that I'm on, and I have to like stretch a little bit, and knowing this style stuff really grounded me in that. So you know, it's nothing too crazy. It's nothing too crazy.
Well, later on, a lot of the jazz was so far out.
Yeah.
Like my buddies at Spinal Tap, they would say it's avoiding all the good notes. You know, so they're afraid to play the good notes.
Well, I sometimes agree with them, because I too have been puppet show and Jonathan Stout. You know, that's I try to get it the opposite direction.
Well, the great Jonathan Stout. Where are you going to be playing? Where can people find you?
You can find me at campus5.com, on Instagram at campus5. That's F-I-V-E, all of those ways. And I've got a course that shows how to play this style of guitar on DC Music School. It's dc-musicschool.com. And I've got some charts for sale on SoundSlice, little arrangements that you can buy. And otherwise, just find me at campus5.
Well, you want to support these great musicians. I mean, you know, these guys dedicate their lives to it, and it really is a learning experience. It's beautiful orally to hear it, but, you know, you explaining it kind of makes it live on for some other young folks.
It's a gift to get to do this stuff and to get to talk about it, and I feel like, you know, one of the things that we miss when it's music that old is we forget they were real people. You know, we see them in black and white movies. You know, they had real stories, they had real histories, they had a real culture, and it's important to be mindful of that stuff, because you know, I think a lot of rock people totally get what it's like when they think about like 60s classic rock, and they think about the Vietnam War, and they think all of that stuff. All those things are like super important about what was happening to our great you know, swing artists and jazz artists. You know, their lives were important too, and I just like getting into that stuff.
Well, they were the rock stars of the day, and now we have more modern ones, and it's debatable. People say, oh, the music was better then and now, or whatever. It's all good. Music can make you happy, and that's what we try to do here. So we love you guys. Thank you for watching our videos. Thank you, Jonathan, for coming in. It's always a pleasure having you.
Pleasure's all mine.
And I hope you guys appreciate having people like this coming in.
It's awesome. It's great.
Sweet.